First of all, as you know, I decided to put as a first item on the agenda this morning the situation in Libya that was already foreseen on the agenda of our works today. The last Foreign Affairs Council, I was tasked with the plan of developing options for European Union to assist transition in Libya, to support the efforts of the UN in finding agreement on a government of national unity, and to start very concrete planning on how the European Union can support a future government of national unity. Now, after what happened in the Mediterranean the day before, the night before the previous one, I felt it was our moral duty to concentrate also on our responsibility as Europeans to prevent this kind of tragedies to happen again and again. You might remember that just a month ago I was putting migration for the first time after 10 years on the agenda of foreign ministers, and we agreed on that occasion that we needed to have a joint ministerial, foreign ministers, interior ministers. I'm happy to say, if there is anything to be happy about it, that we are having this finally today. Interior ministers are joining us this afternoon, and we will tackle the issues strictly relating to migration with the interior ministers today, also in view of preparing, if there will be a decision in this direction by President Tusk, a European Council, an extraordinary European Council later this week. I will talk to President Tusk during the day and we will evaluate the situation. Let me say that the main issue here is to build together a common sense of European responsibility on what is happening in the Mediterranean, knowing that there is no easy solution, there is no magic solution, but there is a responsibility that we have to exercise together as Europeans and in a consistent and coherent way. So we have foreign policy instruments we will discuss with foreign ministers, starting with Libya, obviously, but there are also responsibilities that are not in the hands of the foreign ministers, are in the hands of the interior ministers and of the heads of state and government. That's why we'll start coordinating with the interior ministers also on those, namely the presence at sea, namely the sharing of the responsibility in welcoming refugees and migrants. These are issues that we will discuss this afternoon. But let me also say that we will also have other issues on the agenda today with the foreign ministers. We decided to have a strategic discussion on Latin America. I know it sounds strange, with so many crises around us, to focus on something that looks so far away, but let me say that it's 6 years now that the Foreign Affairs Council doesn't discuss Latin America and its relation with the European Union. With all the developments that we see in Latin America and in the Caribbean, I think it is our specific interest as Europeans to build on an historic, cultural, and political and economic also relation we have with that continent and not to miss opportunities for the future relations with that continent. We will also work on Yemen. I will also report about the Iranian talks we had last month. And last but not least at all, the day will continue with a meeting with the foreign ministers of our eastern partners in view of the Riga summit. So we will also look at east of our borders. As I always said, we have not the luxury of choosing where we look, south or east. The important thing is that we do that all together as Europeans, both when we look south and east.
About Yemen, please. What kind of reaction do you have concerning the military operation led by Saudi Arabia?
We are working on Yemen, first of all, increasing the humanitarian assistance. But on the humanitarian side, the money is not enough. We also have to make sure that the humanitarian help reaches the country, and for that we have to have security measures in place. We hope that it will be possible in the coming days to revive the political track under the UN auspices and with countries of the region not seeing this as a new regional conflict. We already have quite enough in the area, but as a way of developing possible cooperations for decreasing the tensions in the area.
You were talking about Europe's responsibility in the Mediterranean. Do you think that EU policies have been failing so far?
No, I think that we need to develop European policies, and this is our common responsibility. There are things that under the treaties fall in the hands of the member states, but still we have a political and moral duty to exercise our role. The Mediterranean is our sea, one of our seas, and we have to act together as Europeans. It's not only an issue of moral duty, and the number of people that are dying at sea, not only the day before yesterday, but over the last months and years, tells us we cannot repeat again, never again, if we don't act consistently and coherently afterwards. But it is also our interest, of our credibility. The European Union was built and is built around the protection of human rights, human dignity, and the life of human people. We need to be consistent in that. This is also our specific interest. And obviously, I hope that from today and in the coming days, we will be able to make sure that European policies are facing appropriately the situation.
Do you really see a chance to change now?
Yes.
But what swift reaction could you provide concerning migrants' flows? We hear something about switching camps.
No, I will give the details afterwards, after the discussion with the ministers, so I will meet you after the afternoon session with the interior ministers.